Breaking bread and having fun is what Monticello's restaurant is all about. Sure, Monticello's pizza is legendary, but that's only the beginning. Monticello's does Italian better than anyone in the business. That's why we were voted the best family and Italian restaurant by Trip Total Media. Great food, good friends, and a superb night out. That's been Monticello's recipe for success for nearly 40 years. Monticello's Italian Restaurant.
Tri-State Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, keeping you in the game.
I tell my patients often, in orthopedics, you don't want to be an interesting case, but if you are, you want to get your care right here. With foot and ankle surgery, the goal is really to get people back moving. And most importantly, I want to get you back permanently, not just once and then all of a sudden you're injured again. UPMC has a comprehensive care delivery model across the entire treatment span, from rehabilitation all the way through rehab. We have everything the patient would need to get better. My name is Dr. McAllis Hogan, and I choose to practice orthopedic surgery at UPMC.
This is our battleground. This is why we train and train and train, why we suit up, take the field. This is game day every day. Our opponents are the toughest out there, but we take on tough. Rise beyond the challenge, because when it's all on the line, we're on call. This is our team and yours. UPMC, life-changing medicine.
When you're sneezing, aching, or hurting, it's always urgent. That's why UPMC Urgent Care Centers are open 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., 7 days a week. UPMC Urgent Care. The service is express. The care is UPMC.
And a pleasant good evening from Newman Stadium here on the campus of North Allegheny High School, the site of this varsity girls soccer matchup between the Shaler Titans and your North Allegheny Tigers. Alongside Donnie Chedrick and Jared Barton. And Donnie, we saw it was an easy game for the NA Tiger JV squad just before this one. It should be a closer one here on the varsity levels, though.
Yeah, it was a 10-0 JV score. We'll have to wait and see what we get in this varsity matchup. We have two teams, though, Jared, on the opposite ends of the spectrum, both losing some pieces from last year, but North Allegheny, the defending WPIAL champions, and Shaler just one win in 2019.
As you mentioned, NA, no games yet so far. This will be their first matchup of the year. as they had a bunch of postponements as the start of the WPIL soccer season moved backwards by the governing body. So no record yet overall, no record in section play. They are ranked 5th by the Trib High School Sports Network, though, in 4A soccer, in Section 1 4A soccer, 5th overall in section, or in 4A though. First game of the new season, of course. They were supposed to play Cumberland Valley, Penn Trafford, McDowell, and Seneca Valley. All of those games postponed due to the shortened season because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, of course, last year, 18-3-1 overall, 12-0 in section play, section champs, WPIL champs. It was their 3rd straight postseason appearance, a 2-0 Whitfield Championship win over Norwin. That was their first section crown as well since 2013. Had a bye in the first round of the playoffs after earning the 3rd seed overall. They beat Penn Trafford, they beat Peters Township, and then Norwin to capture the Whitfield. Going on to the state playoffs, they defeated Cumberland Valley in a 1-0 very close matchup to get off to that PIAA quarterfinal. Ava Rupersberger scoring that lone goal in that game. And then we made the trek out to Cumberland Valley High School. That was a second round matchup, quarterfinal PIAA against Boyerstown. A very close one, 3-2 loss back on November 9th last year. North Allegheny with 9 shutouts overall last year. They were really just a force to be reckoned with. 7 players named to the all-section team, including a lot of players who they don't have anymore. 7 seniors lost. Emma Bundy, Duquesne recruit. Ava Rupersberger was a first-team all-section selection. She's at William Smith College now. Hannah Kirkpatrick, University of Tampa player in Division II. And Sophia Spano, also a second-team all-section player last year. She's at Ohio State playing some club soccer at the university, of course, when they allow athletics to resume out at Division I levels. Now, of course, just because you lost all that experience doesn't mean that you don't have players who were very important for the championship-winning teams last year. That includes sophomore Sarah Shapansky, who returns first-team all-section last year. The sister of Emma Bundy, Anna Bundy, who saw a lot of time as a freshman last year. She's going to see an increased role after a productive first-year campaign. Lucia Wells back out there, the sophomore, continue to contribute. Also, senior defense Tawasi Sayamala, in the second-team all-section selection last year. Head coach Chuck Kelly, we talked to him at the beginning of the broadcast, or rather before we started our broadcast, and he seems like he's very happy with the squad he has out there right now. Just because he lost some experience doesn't mean that he didn't have some younger players in the ranks who were contributing factors last year.
Yeah, and something else that we learned from both coaches, Jared, is that both are just happy to be playing, because we didn't know if we would get to that point, but for North Allegheny, that there was a chance to get back to that promised land that they got to last year, maybe even go over the top and win a state title, not just the WPIAL title. And for Shaler, you got to think, just make things a little bit better. Last year, 1-16, losing the first 14 games of the season before finally beating North Hills 1-0, then closing it out with a pair of 3-0 losses. They allowed nearly 5 goals per game last season. But considering a 1-16 team at the high school level, that's really not all that bad to allow under 5 goals per game. They were outscored, however, 81-17 in those games. But for that Shaler group, a very young team, but numbers are growing a little bit. You just hope that things can get a little bit better.
For sure. Shaler 0-1 coming into the contest after a loss to Butler 6-0 on Tuesday night. Game at home.
And the North Allegheny Tigers.
We'll see what Coach Craig Wilkins, who's in his 3rd season,
Fans, at this time, we ask that you please rise and move your
the
caps
field
and
as
join
we
our student athletes and
step
coaches
aside
honoring
here for
America.
the national
Let
anthem
us rise
here
as one nation and
at
one
Newman
people
Stadium.
for the playing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright
anthem here at Newman
Thank
Stadium.
you, and good luck
As
to
we are
both
just about to
teams
get
in
started
tonight's
this
contest.
Varsity girls soccer matchup, WPIAL matchup between Shaler and North Allegheny. We'll run through the starters now, starting with the visiting Shaler Titans. Alyssa D. Leondius will be a starting midfielder. She's a senior. Ryan Dorlane also out there as a starting midfielder. Piper Keene, Haley Kostoric, Emily Morey, Taylor Pierce, Aubrey Skurlong, Alexis Tylenda, Ashley Venezia, and Hannah Warren also starting for Shaler. In net, it'll be Jocelyn Shorts, the junior goalkeeper, as well for the Shaler Titans. As we mentioned, led by head coach Craig Wilkins in his third season. Meanwhile, over on the other side for North Allegheny, Sophia Palermo, the sophomore midfielder. Cecily Smith, wearing number 6, the senior defense. Talasi Sayamala, number 8, the senior defender. Lucia Wells, the sophomore forward. Hallie Marsalis, the junior midfielder, wearing number 10. Ellie Wrigley, the senior forward. Sarah Shapansky, the sophomore midfielder. Alexa Spano, the junior defender. Bree Torsha, wearing number 2, the senior midfielder. Also Keena Shannon, number 25, the junior midfielder. And in goal will be number 1, Juliana Werner for the Tigers. Both teams out on the field on either end of the Tiger Paw, the Golden Paw in the middle of Newman Stadium. Thank you for joining us here on the live stream broadcast of this girls soccer match on the North Allegheny Sports Network. Donnie Chedrick, Jared Barton with you. As the Tigers roll it out, their home black uniforms with gold numbers, white trim. Shaler, on the other hand, the road white uniforms with blue numbers and red trim. We are just about underway. A fresh 40 minutes put on the clock. And the Tigers will start out with possession to begin with. Moving from left to right and floated all the way down in. Handled by the goaltender, Jocelyn Schwartz. Wearing number 0 tonight in her pink top. Will boot one high toward the near sideline. Taking a couple of bounces before being settled down by the Titans, and they'll try to move into the offensive end. A quick steal, though. North Allegheny there and up to the task. That was Hallie Marsalis. The chip toward midfield. Misses the intended target. That was Lucia Wells, and it rolls all the way in the far corner. Ball kicked out of bounds. It'll be handled by the Tigers on the throw-in. Doing the honors is Keena Shannon, the junior. And it's moved right along. Back and forth. Early on in this contest, no score yet, as the ball hits off of a Shaler player and rolls to the near sideline. Tossed in. That was Cecily Smith. Couple of headers and bouncing back and forth. Really nobody taking possession so far. We'll see exactly what happens as the ball's floated back to the defense line. It's Talasi Sayabala over to the other side. Ball turned over, and Shaler moves in. On offense, trying to put on some pressure, but not having too much of success with it, and the throw-in upcoming for Keena Shannon. Now, tracking back is Lucia Wells. Ball loose, though. The Shaler player tripped to the ground. Ball turned back over to North Allegheny, and they'll try to move up and into the offensive zone. Coming out of her net to play that ball is Jocelyn Schwartz. And it's kicked to the near sideline. Throw in from Cecily Smith, and it's quickly bounced back out. They'll redo that one.
Pretty quick pace of play, Jared, but you can see from what we had in the JV matchup, it was pretty much North Allegheny from the word go. It is nice to see a pretty evenly keeled matchup, at least in the first few minutes.
Meanwhile, Talasi Sayamala having a go back and toss it to her teammate. Back and forth passing. Bree Torsha, near side. Trying to get around a couple of Shaler defenders, trying to kick it down to One of her teammates, Shapansky, was waiting for it on the other end. Didn't work that time, though. Ryan Dorlane moving it up toward midfield. Handling down was Hallie Marsalis. To the feet of Anna Bundy. And it's shuffled back to the defensive end. Alexis Spano, the junior, on the far side. Kick up to Keena Shannon, and she'll try to hit Bundy, who is moving up and forward, and a whistle stops play. Ball rolling all the way back in across the track. Once again, due to the COVID measures, no assistance to toss a ball in like you would have in a normal time. The pandemic prevents that, so they'll play with one soccer ball. Have to go and retrieve it themselves.
And something you don't really consider, but in the end, it probably makes a difference of at least a couple of minutes in game time. 40 minutes on the clock in each half, but it might add to 1 or 2 minutes in the time it takes for people to retrieve the soccer ball as it goes well past the end line.
And the Titans defense, they're back to get it. Piper Keene and company. Now handling is Emily Morey, who is a commit to Penn State Barron. NA trying to move in on the offensive zone. Rolling all the way to the far sideline, Shapansky keeps it alive. Trying to dribble around a couple of defenders and tries to just throw one to the net where it's stopped by the goalkeeper, Jocelyn Schwartz. No problem there for Schwartz. She'll line up to punt it away. 35-15 left here in the first half, a scoreless game between the Tigers and the Titans. And North Allegheny keeps going with the offensive pressure, at least initially. Ball kicked up toward midfield, handled by Bundy. Inside look, Shapansky has some help as well from Torsha. The trio trying to move it in offensively. Torsha goes to the ground. Shaler defense trying to dig it out, they can't do it. Bundy. And it's picked up by the Titans and cleared away. Ashley Venezia. Rolling all the way back to the goalkeeper. Handled by Werner. And shuffled up to the near sideline where Bundy will control. The toss to Cecily Smith. Picked off. Emily Morey chips one down, has a teammate trying to get into the offensive zone. Haley Kostoric. And rolls out of bounds. Inbound play. Alexis Spano to Sayamala. Second team all-section player last year. As the NA defense in a little bit of a sticky situation. And a whistle blows. Looks like Werner will have the honors here, kicking this one out. Offsides call, so Juliana Werner, the senior goalie, will chip it from 13 yards away from her cage up to midfield into the Golden Tiger paw. Handled by the Titans, though, initially. Batted down, and here comes an offensive chance for Shaler into that near corner. Handling is Ashley Venezia. And now Shapansky, one-on-one. Goalie coming out of the crease. Shapansky, wide open net, trickles one in. It's 1-0 Tigers. No problem.
For the Tigers. Remember,
and you see right there how good defense from North Allegheny became an effective offense. On the other end, Shaler with a pretty good offensive chance, unable to take advantage of it. You get the defense taking the ball back the other way. Shapansky was all by herself, and then she was able to finish it off after passing up the goaltender.
So no problem for the Tigers getting on the board first. Sarah Shapansky's first goal of the year. 1-0 North Allegheny. Down to 32:50 left here in the first half. Handling now is Bree Torsha. on that far side. Trickled up to Lucia Wells. Trying to feed to her teammate. Into the corner. That was Shannon. Meanwhile, a chip towards the net will go wide off the foot of Lucia Wells and into the corner. Out of bounds, possession to Shaler. Just missing that flag on the end line. So the Titans get a break. Piper Keene, the throw-in. And it's up to the defensive line to try to get it out for Shaler. They don't do it. Another offensive opportunity, trickles in and scores. 2-0 as Lucia Wells finds the back of the net. The Tigers up too early.
And now you see North Allegheny building on that lead. It took them a few minutes, nearly 10 minutes into regulation, but they finally get one pass, now two very quickly.
The North Allegheny goal credited to number 9, Lucia Wells.
Good passing by the NA offense, and they're up 2-0 now with 31:55 left here in the first half. Thank you for joining us on the North Allegheny Sports Network via live video stream from Newman Stadium. Of course, we do have some parents in attendance tonight. We're able to get some people into the contest, which is always a good thing. But if you're joining us from your home, we thank you for that as well. Talasi Sayamala digging it out of trouble and tossing it to the far sideline. Their possession will stay with North Allegheny. It's Keena Shannon with the throw-in. It's picked off. Shaler looking for a response, down 2-0. And it's back to the foot of Lucia Wells, the latest goal scorer. She clears to the far side of the field. And it's handled by the Titans. This time, Piper Keene with the throw-in. Into traffic right at midfield. And it's kept alive by the Shaler offense. And now batted into their zone as Sarah Shapansky working her magic this time. The feed, cross field, Lucia Wells fires one and it's saved. Good job and great awareness by Jocelyn Schwartz to make that one. With 30-33 left here in the first half, keeps it a 2-0 contest. Back up to midfield. This time it's Sophia Palermo. Down to the near sideline, Cecily Smith. Give and go. Smith trying to work around a defender. Back up to Bundy. And it's taken away to midfield. Handling is Alexis Talenda. Talenda with a couple of shifty moves with the feet. And it rolls out of bounds. Substitution for the Tigers as Olivia Mark, the junior midfielder, comes into the game. She'll replace Keena Shannon for the time being. And throwing in is Cecily Smith. Shaler gets a foot on it first, and it trickles down and out of bounds. Still on the near sideline. Cecily Smith will do the honors once again. Trying to feed it to Anna Bundy. Meanwhile, Sophia Palermo there to keep the offensive drive alive here for NA. Right at midfield. Up to Shapansky, who's been an offensive threat so far, scoring the first goal of the game with the neon green headband. Feeds it in front. Bundy's there, but has traffic in front of her. Meanwhile, the shot goes in. Great awareness by the Tigers to net the third goal of the game.
It was a deflection.
North Allegheny Tiger goal scored once again by number 9.
That ended up opening things up, and Wells was able to net the goal. Bundy had possession of it, Jared, and then sort of just kicking it back, and there was Wells all by herself. She was able to get a clear path and send it home.
Another great look by a very dangerous North Allegheny offense so far. With 28:58 to go here in the first half, they're up 3-0. We've seen a lot of work. Anna Bundy, Lucia Wells, and Sarah Shapansky in the offensive end are really putting on a clinic so far as the ball Trickles into the defensive end. Talasi Sayamala to the far sideline. This one rolls out. They actually have some of the JV players tossing the ball in to try to keep gameplay up and going. Chipped into the air, and Sophia Palermo bounces off the head of Shapansky. Pinwheel kick back into the defensive end for NA. Scooping it up is Howie Marsalis. Meanwhile, Lucia Wells, 2 goals in this game. The chip ahead, aiming for Shapansky, doesn't work this time. Shaler looking for a response. Haley Kostorik shoveling it down. Getting to it first, though, is Alexis Spano. And it rolls out. Throw-in opportunity for the Tigers. Shapansky heads it up into the offensive end, and going back to retrieve it is Aubrey Skurlong. Rolls all the way, though, to the goalkeeper, Jocelyn Schwartz. And she'll try to clear it to the near sideline. Doesn't work this time. Anna Bundy will throw in. Finds Shapansky, 15 yards away from the goal, into the near corner. What's Shapansky going to do with it? She fires it. It misses wide, though, hits the side of the cage. Once we get a ball back into play, Shaler will get a chance to clear it out. 27-10 to go here in the first half. A 3-0 contest. North Allegheny on top so far. The clearing attempt does not work. North Allegheny stays on offense. Bouncing toward the middle of the field. Scooping up the loose ball is Bree Torsha. Looks like we have an injured Titan down on the field as well. Play continues, though, along that far side. All the way down into the offensive end. Spano there, into the goalkeeper's hands of Werner, and we do have that stoppage in play for the injured Shaler player.
How are you?
So we'll take a look. Both medical staffs from both teams out on the field. Didn't exactly see what happened there,
Breaking bread and having fun is what Monticello's restaurant is all about. Sure, Monticello's pizza is legendary, but that's only the beginning. Monticello's does Italian better than anyone in the business. That's why we were voted the best family and Italian restaurant by Trip Total Media. Great food, good friends, and a superb night out. That's been Monticello's recipe for success for nearly 40 years. Monticello's Italian Restaurant.
Tri-State Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, keeping you in the game.
And welcome back to Newman Stadium after the injury timeout. 3-0 Tigers with 26:36 remaining in the first half. Alyssa Delianibus was the one down on the field for Shaler, but she got up on her own power and is being attended to on the sideline. Donnie Chedrick, Jared Barton with you in this first match of the year for the Tigers varsity girls soccer squad. Werner to Talasi Sayamala. Into the near side, it's Cecily Smith. The shuffle along to Howie Marsalis. Players that were key in the WPIL championship winning team last year. Plenty of returning experience as Shaler moves into the offensive end. Centering pass doesn't work. North Allegheny there to clear. Now a battle for possession as it's kicked back up into the Golden Tiger paw. Hyper Keene and company trying to move it back into the offensive end. It goes out of play and it'll be a throw in for the Tigers. Cecily Smith doing it once again. scans her options. Anna Bundy heads it up toward midfield. Sarah Shapansky trying to reach in there and get possession. Didn't work this time. Ball's kicked out of bounds once more. And Smith will throw in. Tally Marsalis to Anna Bundy. Up towards Sofia Palermo. And Sayamala gets in on the action as well. Far side. Handling this time, the junior Olivia Mark out there for the Tigers. Meanwhile, Palermo up over midfield. Back into the Tigers' offensive end. The goalkeeper Schwartz for Shaler. Way far out of her cage to go and try to control this one, but it's picked up once again by Bree Torsha and Shapansky. It's pushed to the ground. It's held in, though, by Marsalis. Her shot on net just misses. Had an opportunity, as we take a look at the replay, like the thought, just a few feet wide.
And a great shot from Marsalis, and you said it, just a few feet wide, but that was from way out there. That would have been a very impressive goal if it found the back of the net.
The clearing attempt by the Titans hits off of an NA player and rolls to their bench. Throw-in chance now for Shaler. And into their offensive end. Tigers defense up to the task, though, as they just clear it down to Werner, who has not really been challenged yet in this game. But Shaler's offense trying to maybe turn it on here at midfield. 23-34 left in the first half. A 3-0 contest. Tigers on top. Kick into the near side. Flipped in Ashley Venezia, who has had a couple of good looks, but nothing solid yet, and another clear. This time, Sarah Shapansky working one-on-one with Emily Morey. And the Titans win that battle. They'll throw in. Piper Keene beating to her teammate Audrey Fisher, the senior out there. But it's handled back in by Olivia Mark and the Tigers before it's thrown out of bounds. Once again, out of play. Marsalis this time. Throw-in chance for the Titans. Trying to get something going offensively, down 3-0. Sofia Palermo getting a piece of it. Now the ball is shoved to the near sideline. Scooping up the loose ball is Anna Bundy. A little bit of a collision there. Ball rolls out of bounds, and Cecily Smith, who was fighting for it, will throw it in. The toss to Marsalis. Up to midfield, but no further, as Shaler will try to move it in on the offensive end. Sayamala, the chip back to midfield. Brought in control, it's Ellie Wrigley. Wrigley trying to push it down into the offensive end a little bit further. Hits off of a Shaler defender and out of play. They say that was off of Wrigley. So it was given to Shaler, but they quickly turn it over. Shapansky. The turning kick hits off a defender. And a whistle stops play. A corner kick upcoming, the first of the game for either team. Looks like Shapansky will be doing the honors.
Kind of a tough play there by Schwartz. She leaves her net and tries to make a play on it. It goes out of play, and that gives North Allegheny a chance here with the corner.
Shapansky far hits off of somebody's head and out of bounds on the end line, as looks as though Cecily Smith was just a little bit too far out of play when she made contact with the soccer ball. So possession is given back to the Titans, who are down 3-0 here in this varsity contest. Clearing attempt not working out for Emily Morey, at least not initially. Good head fake by Hannah Warren. That is quickly turned over, though. Here comes Sarah Shapansky. 25 yards out, puts a firing shot towards the net, but it's just a bit too high. And out of play. 20 minutes remaining here in half number one. 3-0 your score. The Tigers on top so far. Shapansky keeping that one alive on the offensive end for NA. Another header. The Shaler defense trying to break it up. Battle at midfield. And a whistle blows. Alexis Tylenda putting in the extra effort for the Titans to give her team possession. Practically in midfield. And Emily Morey will kick it away to restart play. This one shoved on to the offensive end. Chance here for Shaler. A tip. Oh, off of a face of a Titan, but kept out of play. And meanwhile, another shot on goal is saved. Werner there. The chances off of the foot of Ashley Venezia.
Great chance for the Titans. Probably their best chance to this point in the contest. A goal there gets them sort of back in the thick of things. 3-0 right now, but still plenty of time to go.
Abby Stager in there in the varsity contest as well. She had a great look in JV earlier. Scored, what'd you say, 5 goals?
5 goals, 5 of the 10
so
for the Tigers.
Goals coming off the foot of Stager in JV, and she's getting some varsity looks as well. She was a solid force in front of the net. Corner kick up coming here for Shaler, their first of the contest. Corner blasted on in, bouncing in front, but no dice. Once again, the Titans having some problems at the offensive end. Venezia was there, was looking to try to get Shaler on the board. This one out of play and a throw in coming for the Titans. They'll get rewarded with another offensive opportunity. 17:45 left here in the first half. 3-0 North Allegheny. A turnover. Sarah Shapansky chipping it upfield for Ellie Wrigley and company, but it's just out of their reach. And Jocelyn Schwartz will make sure that it goes out of play for a restart. Wrigley spinning towards the net. Feed in front to Shapansky, who rips one and scores. Sarah Shapansky on board for her second
Tigers.
time this evening.
For number 17,
it's 4-0.
Sarah Shapansky.
A pair of players for the Tigers now with a pair of goals to make it 3-4. 4-0 Tigers in this first half. Still 17 minutes to go, and just moments after a pretty good Shaler offensive attack, we see that North Allegheny finds the back of the net one more time.
After a couple of nice offensive chances by Shaler at the far end, the Tigers quickly come back and score, taking advantage of their opportunities, which have become a little sparse here in the last few minutes. Either way, though, Ellie Wrigley and company back into their offensive end. Sophia Palermo, the giveaway. This time it's fed up to Alexis Tylenda at midfield. She's tripped up, and quickly Palermo chips it back in for Wrigley. It's a foot race, one-on-one, but it rolls to the goalkeeper Schwartz instead, who will wrangle it in with 16:40 left here in the first half and punt it away. Trying to clear to midfield. Just can't do that, though. Palermo heads it back into the offensive end, but just like that, it's pushed into the Shaler offensive zone. Handling now, Keena Shannon. Back to Juliana Werner. And flipped this time to Bella Fallow. In the game for her first time. Rolls out of bounds. She'll throw it in, looking to throw it in quickly. And does. The chip to Breonna Rice. And And meanwhile, that'll go out of play once more. Turnover this time. Shaler will take possession. Looking to turn something into offense here. Audrey Fisher. The give to Hannah Warren. Meanwhile, Talasi Sayamala there to chip back up to midfield. Shapansky as well. Lead pass. Look who it is. Coming down in. Stager, one-on-one, has a collision in the far corner. Can't get possession. It's kicked out of play. Should be NA Tiger ball offensively, and it will be. Quick whistle, though, as we have an injury down on the field for North Allegheny. Ellie Wrigley will be checked out by the athletic staff here, and she'll be off the field on her own power.
Wells coming back into the game. Wells with 2 goals to this point.
She scored the second and third of this contest of the 4-0 score. Sarah Shapansky with the first and fourth. Throw-in opportunity for North Allegheny. This time, Olivia Mark. And Shaler's defense digs it out of trouble towards their sideline, though, and out of bounds. So North Allegheny will get another chance. Along the far sideline, throw in successful, at least initially, before it's picked off on that far side. And a quick whistle. Reset upcoming. Foul on North Allegheny. Putting this one away is Alyssa DeLeonibus, who was hurt early on, but she's back in the action.
Could see her moving a little bit gingerly around midfield.
Meanwhile, NA back into the offensive end, at least initially. We'll have to go back to retrieve it at midfield. Shaler making some moves on the offensive end. Tylenda on the far sideline, being guarded one-on-one with Spano. The flip towards the net, saved by Werner. Her first real challenge of the evening.
And another good chance from the Shaler offense. We've seen a few times that Shaler gets close, but unable to find the back of the cage in what is still a 4-0 game, but it probably the third good chance that the Titans have had in the first half.
We're down to 13:28 remaining in half number one. This ball is pushed out of bounds on the near sideline. Line changes for the Tigers. Fresh legs out onto the field, including Keena Shannon off the bench. She's throwing in this time. The tip off of Lucia Wells, but Shaler responds with a dump in of their own. Shannon one-on-one along the sideline with Piper Keene. And it's out of play. Throw in here for Bella Fallow. Headed by Breonna Rice. Settled back in by Fallow, who just lops it up in the air. And a one-on-one battle goes out of play once again. It's Rice. Shannon with the throw-in. The tip from Lucia Wells. And the clearing attempt, no dice for Shaler, as North Allegheny will push into the offensive end once again. Stager as the ball roll into the hands of Jocelyn Schwartz, who will settle things down and punt it away for the Titans. Picked off once again, Bree Torsha. Shoveled back to the defensive line for North Allegheny. Small passing for Shaler on the Golden Tiger paw, for it's settled down. This time Haley Kostorik, as the Titans floated in. Once again, Shaler back up over midfield. You're seeing the Tiger defense really keeping any chances to the perimeter for Shaler, not letting them get inside, and I think that's helped them so far in this game.
Yeah, and similar to what we saw in the JV matchup, Jared, maybe just not as often as what we saw at the JV level. This one, a closer competitive contest, at least how it seems in front of us. But again, not a lot of time for Shaler in that offensive zone. However, a couple of chances that the Titans have had.
The give, a foot race, but Schwartz is there to make sure that there's no offensive chance. Lucia Wells was trying to move in and possibly make a move, working one-on-one. The punt not too deep this time. North Allegheny controls. Wells, the give, inside look, shot attempt, unsuccessful by Breonna Rice. And Schwartz is there to gather up the loose ball. Down to 10:15 left here in the first half. 4-0 Tiger lead. And a foul. Reset upcoming for Shaler. Delianibus shoveling it in. The Shaler offensive zone. Not working there though. Palermo. The give up field. Aiming for Stager once again. Seeing a lot of time on varsity after playing a majority of the JV game as well.
And being the star of that JV game, 5 of the 10 North Allegheny goals.
Throw-in chance for the Titans. That's Andre Fisher. Chips it up to midfield. Lots of passing back and forth for Shaler, but again, not a lot of move in towards the middle of the field. It's been a lot of external play out toward the sidelines when Shaler has possession. A turnover there, and North Allegheny will come back into the offensive end. Looking to strike again if they can. Ball floated toward the far sideline. A one-on-one battle, whistle blows, and possession is awarded to the Tigers. Throw in. Chipped. Out of bounds once more. To the left side of the flag. Won't be a corner kick. Throw in upcoming. Doing the honors is Olivia Mark. Feet in front. Shot that's going to go wide off the foot of Bree Torsha. Over the end line, so Shaler will get a chance to clear. 7:57 remaining in the first half. Titans looking for that first goal if they can get it. And if you were Shaler, probably won it before halftime, that's for sure. Once again, the Tigers keeping it in the offensive end. Good move inside. Lucia Wells, but it's batted away. Titan defense up to the task this time. In transition, back to the defensive line. It's Bellafallo. Pushed up to midfield. Stager. Bouncing loose. And back to Olivia Marking Company. Quick turnover, well, at least initially it was, before it's shoveled out of bounds. Throw-in chance for Shaler. Piper Keene. The feed. And quickly out of bounds. Let's see exactly who has possession here. North Allegheny will, and they get a couple of substitutions as well. as coming into the game, Chloe Reed. A few others as well. Shaler in their offensive end moving right to left. Trying to dodge the stingy defense of North Allegheny. Doesn't work this time. Lucia Wells trying to feed to Anna Bundy. Back to Wells. She'll move it down the far sideline. One-on-one, a foot race with Audrey Fisher. Wells into the corner. Centering pass as Torsia. Shot on net off the back of a Shaler player. And clear to the far sideline. Who's going to come up with it? Possession awarded to Shaler.
And great job defensively by the Titans to get in the way of that shot. A hard shot. It was on line. Could have resulted in goal number 5 for the Tigers. And then it gets pushed back out to around midfield.
But once again, North Allegheny with possession. To the near sideline. Keena Shannon trying to work it in. Last touch, though, by NA before it goes out of bounds. So a throw-in upcoming for the Titans. Back and forth possession, giveaways. This time, up to midfield. Handling it, Riley Circa, the sophomore defender, in for the first time tonight for NA. Circa tripped up as the ball rolls out of bounds. No whistle on it, though. Possession to Shaler. Down to 4.5 minutes to go here in the first half. Once again, Shaler will get a chance to get it into their offensive end. Emily Morey, captain designation by the neon band on her arm. Mentioned she's a Penn State Barron recruit for soccer. As the ball rolls over the end line, the rare chance that a corner kick is coming up for Shaler. Ryan Dorlane will kick it in. And it's right to Werner, who has no problem with it, tracking that one. Looking for her best option to clear. She just holds on to it. Werner waiting for her troops to get set up. And she'll punt it away. Up to midfield. Hit by Lucia Wells. It's back into the hands of Shaler, at least momentarily it was. As Anna Bundy hits it off of a Shaler player to Lucia Wells. Moving is Keena Shannon. Rather, Riley Circa up into the offensive end. Ball goes out of play. Throw in here for NA. And put back out of bounds. Olivia Mark back into the offensive end. Bundy. The give, it's Katie Warner. Meanwhile, move inside, but it's handled by Jocelyn Schwartz. And he just trying to clear into center, seeing if anybody is there to pick up the loose ball. Nobody this time. And Schwartz will punt it back up to midfield. We're down to 2 minutes remaining here in the first half. A 4-0 North Allegheny lead in this first varsity soccer match of the year for the Tigers. One game under the belt for Shaler. It was a 6-0 loss on Tuesday to the hands of the Butler Golden Tornado. That game at home for the Titans. As I mentioned in the JV broadcast, you would think that the rust would be off for Shaler after already seeing action, WPIAL action, once this week. They've had their opportunities at the offensive end, but it seems as though they're having a hard time getting it out of NAs. So once again, this one's pushed out of bounds on the far side. Throw-in chance for the Tigers. Anna Bundy looking to just curl it back to center. Misses the intended target and rolls into the corner. Keena Shannon trying to get after that loose ball. They say she went out of bounds, though, and possession will go back to the Titans. Under a minute to go here in the first half. Morey sending it up to midfield and rolls out of play. Right to the feet of head coach Chuck Kelly. Once again, battles right up front, down to 20 seconds remaining in the first half. Both teams not really making any sudden moves, so probably just let this trickle down to halftime. A chip, though, up for the Tigers. One last push. Never mind. Bundy, the shot just misses wide with 5 seconds remaining in the first half. Anna Bundy almost scoring the 5th goal of the game. Doesn't happen, though. And at halftime, it's a 4-0 score for the North Allegheny girls soccer team against Shaler. Again, at 32-55, Sarah Shapansky, a one-on-one shot that led to the first goal of the game. Lucia Wells with 2 markers after that. One just a few seconds, or rather just about 30 seconds after Shapansky's first goal, made it 2-0, and then another one at 28-58 with an Anna Bundy assist, made it 3-0. Then Sarah Shapansky, once again at 17-19, the assist from Ellie Wrigley makes it 4-0, and that's where we stand at halftime. Really just a good offensive showing by North Allegheny in their first half of play this season.
And Bundy almost putting home an exclamation point right before the half, but still 4-0 after the first 40. That's a very comfortable lead for the Tigers.
Well, we'll step aside. More soccer action on the other end. Thank you for tuning in to the North Allegheny Sports Network. 4-0 your score at halftime. Tigers in command. We'll be back after this.
I tell my patients often, in orthopedics, you don't want to be an interesting case, but if you are, you want to get your care right here. With foot and ankle surgery, the goal is really to get people back moving. And most importantly, I want to get you back permanently, not just once and then all of a sudden you're injured again. UPMC has a comprehensive care delivery model across the entire treatment span, from rehabilitation all the way through rehab. We have everything the patient would need to get better. My name is Dr. McAllis Hogan, and I choose to practice orthopedic surgery at UPMC.
This is our battleground. This is why we train and train and train, why we suit up, take the field. This is game day every day. Our opponents are the toughest out there, but we take on tough. Rise beyond the challenge, because when it's all on the line, we're on call. This is our team and yours. UPMC, life-changing medicine.
Breaking bread and having fun is what Monticello's restaurant is all about. Sure, Monticello's pizza is legendary, but that's only the beginning. Monticello's does Italian better than anyone in the business. That's why we were voted the best family and Italian restaurant by Trip Total Media. Great food, good friends, and a superb night out. That's been Monticello's recipe for success for nearly 40 years. Monticello's Italian Restaurant.
When you're sneezing, aching, or hurting, it's always urgent. That's why UPMC Urgent Care Centers are open 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., 7 days a week. UPMC Urgent Care. The service is express. The care is UPMC.
Tri-State Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, keeping you in the game.
I tell my patients often, in orthopedics, you don't want to be an interesting case, but if you are, you want to get your care right here. With foot and ankle surgery, the goal is really to get people back moving. And most importantly, I want to get you back permanently, not just once and then all of a sudden you're injured again. UPMC has a comprehensive care delivery model across the entire treatment span, from rehabilitation all the way through rehab. We have everything the patient would need to get better. My name is Dr. McAllis Hogan, and I choose to practice orthopedic surgery at UPMC.
This is our battleground. This is why we train and train and train, why we suit up, take the field. This is game day every day. Our opponents are the toughest out there, but we take on tough. Rise beyond the challenge. Because when it's all on the line, we're on call. This is our team and yours. UPMC, life-changing medicine.
Breaking bread and having fun is what Monticello's restaurant is all about. Sure, Monticello's pizza is legendary, but that's only the beginning. Monticello's does Italian better than anyone in the business. That's why we were voted the best family and Italian restaurant by Trip Total Media. Great food, good friends, and a superb night out. That's been Monticello's recipe for success for nearly 40 years. Monticello's Italian Restaurant.
When you're sneezing, aching, or hurting, it's always urgent. That's why UPMC Urgent Care Centers are open 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., 7 days a week. UPMC Urgent Care. The service is express. The care is UPMC.
Tri-State Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, keeping you in the game.
And welcome back to Newman Stadium. Jared Barton, Donnie Chedrick with you. 4-0 your score. The NA Girls Soccer Varsity squad up with a nice onslaught of goals in that first half. 2 off the foot of Sarah Shapansky, 2 off of the foot of Lucia Wells. And we're back in action here in half number 2. Glad to have you along on the North Allegheny Sports Network via video stream. Not every day that we get video stream action, but because of the COVID-19 pandemic, all of these games available to you, the fan, online in video form. Well, after posting a shutout, Shaler, you know they're going to be motivated to get back into the offensive end and try to get some shots on goal, break this scoreless streak. And there's a shot that's just going to rip wide, high and wide, off the foot of Alexis Tylenda, the freshman forward out there for Shaler, who looked good in that first half, but didn't really have a solid chance until right there.
And Shaler looking to get some more chances in this second half, Jared. A couple in that first half, but were unable to put goals in, and a couple of the times it actually worked in North Allegheny's favor, where the good offense created open opportunities the other way.
The Tiger offense moving right to left this time here at Newman Stadium. Talasi Sayamala, a shove up to midfield. Trying to sneak it back into the offensive zone. It's picked off and quickly. Tylenda and the Shaler offense move back in. Ball trickles all the way to Werner, who's in net for the Tigers. Hasn't been challenged too often. As she feeds to Cecily Smith. Meanwhile, it's chipped up. Sarah Shapansky. You can't miss her with the neon headband. She's working one-on-one with Emily Morey. The give. This time, Lucia Wells. Shot on net and a big save by Schwartz. Rebound loose. Who's going to come up with it? It's Morey who kicks it out of harm's way all the way to the far sideline. Throw in upcoming for the Tigers.
Great save by Schwartz, almost leading to another North Allegheny goal on the deflection, but they are held scoreless in this possession. So a great job for Shaler to turn the ball the other way.
Let's take a look at this replay. Lucia Wells with that great chance, just aiming for that far post, but Schwartz was there. Saw it all the way, dove to make sure that nothing was going to happen there. Also, Anna Bundy also trying to put on that second shot. Just didn't work for the Tigers, but they still hold a 4-0 lead. 37-25 remaining here in the second half. You can feel a pep in the step of the Shaler Titans, who looked a little flat in that first half. As I mentioned, still looking for that first goal of the game. Throw-in chance coming for Keena Shannon. The bounce to Sophia Palermo. Back to the foot of Shannon. And this time, a chance for Shaler off the crossbar. Nothing going there for Alexis Tylenda. who had a chance earlier this half and rings one off the iron this time. Meanwhile, the throw-in for NA from Cecily Smith mishandled, and Shaler will take back over on offense. But a quick giveaway, and it's pushed up. Could be a chance for Shapansky, but the goaltender Schwartz way out of her net to make sure that this one's pushed up to midfield. Here comes Palermo. The give to Bundy. Bundy has some teammates up ahead. The feed to Cecily Smith. The chip inside to Shapansky, no good. Who's there other than Emily Morey to push it out of bounds, and a throw-in upcoming for Smith and the Tigers. Anna Bundy, who played a lot in her freshman campaign last year, looking to make a bigger impact this season without her sister Emma Bundy, who has since graduated. Talasi Sayamala, a rare appearance in the offensive zone. It's moved back and handled by Palermo. Now Lucia Wells, the give inside, Shapansky looking for some open space, 1-on-3, flips one up, and it goes wide right. No problem there for Shaler, as they were applying great pressure on Shapansky. 1-on-3, really, about 20 yards away from the net. Emily Morey will do the honors to clear this one up ahead. 35-10 remaining here in the second half. 4-0 North Allegheny lead. Anna Bundy with the steal. The feed is blocked. It's not getting to the net. Aubrey Skurlong there to make sure that it wasn't going to be centered. And it's pushed out of bounds. Tigers will retrieve, and they'll throw in the offensive end. Lucia Wells up over the head. Anna Bundy. The give. And a push down. And clear by Shaler. Up to midfield. Talasi Sayamala, second team all-section player last year. To her teammate Alexis Spano. Now Shapansky tips it along. Joining the rush. Here comes Wells. Her shot deflected wide. Lucia Wells with another great opportunity, but couldn't cash in there.
Now a corner kick coming up for North Allegheny in an attempt to make it a 5-goal deficit.
Sarah Shapansky will do the honors. Second corner kick of the game. And instead of booting it towards the net, she just plays give and go with her teammate. As it's flipped to center this time. Chance in front. Bundy is stone cold. Meanwhile, another shot on net. Just blocked away. Brie Torsha had a foot on it. But the defense for Shaler is up to the task. As here's the chip in from Shapansky. Up off of Bundy. Had a look. Sort of hesitated. Schwartz was there making sure that wasn't going to go in. And Torsha has her shot hit by Schwartz as well. Meanwhile, back to action. Shapansky. Crossfield pass. No one home over there in the far corner. The Tigers do retrieve. Bundy. Tossed up to Sayamala. Far side. Lucia Wells. Meanwhile, Bundy. Kick inside to Wells. Trailer also helping out. It's Shannon. Ball still loose in front. Bundy, opportunity on the doorstep, doesn't work this time.
Have to credit Schwartz and the Shaler defense a little bit early in this second half, Jared, because even though plenty of chances are there for North Allegheny, no goals netted so far.
Yeah, still a 4-0 contest with 32-12 left in regulation. Sarah Shapansky, who has 2 goals today, chips it down. The lead pass intended for Lucia Wells, but she's offsides. And that may stunt the momentum that the Tigers were gaining there over the last few minutes of play. opportunity for Madeline Primus. Pushing up to center. And it's handled. Emily Morey this time as it goes out of play. Throw-in chance for Keena Shannon. Scanning your options on the near sideline. The give, the bounce off of the head of Lucia Wells. Meanwhile, Shapansky trying to pull it out of harm's way. She can't. Back to midfield. The Titans trying to formulate a plan to get it out of that no-man zone at midfield. Doesn't work this time. Another turnover. Keena Shannon through the legs of Lucia Wells. And we're back to Shannon. This time Palermo. Far side, Bree Torsha. Cecily Smith has her pass back to her off the defender's leg. Shapansky at the numbers far side. Floating it in, trying to find Wells, but a one-on-one battle doesn't work. Taylor Pierce, and they're making sure that nothing was going to happen for Shaler. And now they're trying to work out of a trap as the Titans throw it to the near sideline. Keena Shannon, the give to Palermo. Meanwhile, Bree Torsha scans her options to Lucia Wells into the near corner and kicked out. Once again, Taylor Pierce there to make sure play is stopped. 29:53 to go in regulation play. Tigers back into their offensive end. They spent a lot of time there tonight. This one goes over the end line. Last touched by the Tigers. And a clearing opportunity upcoming for Shaler. You do have to give them credit. They have made sure that they've weathered the storm so far in this second half. So we're about 11 and a half minutes, or rather 10 and a half minutes into this second half. Ball pushed into the Shaler offensive zone. Rolls out of bounds. Chance for Shannon to get it back into play for North Allegheny. Shapansky at midfield. The tip back to Hallie Marsalis. Marsalis dips around a defender. Bree Torsha. Lead pass for Wells out of her reach. And Schwartz is there to make sure that one wasn't going any further than the goal line of the football field. Schwartz will punt it away. This moved up to the Golden Tiger pod midfield. Shaler trying to take advantage of an offensive chance, but this one rolls out of play. Last touch by the Titans. Throw in off the hands of Shannon. And it's quickly gathered up by Emily Morey, who's tripped up and a whistle blows right in front of the NA bench. Possession to the Titans. Shaler with a big boot, moving it into the offensive end. Chance in front, big save by Werner. She's up to the task, ball's loose. And it's cleared away. Talasi Sayamala also in the goal box, making sure nothing was going in that time.
Again, Jerry, great chance for the Shaler Titans, but can't put that one home. They remain scoreless.
Take a look at the replay, and just a good opportunity floated in by Shaler. But Werner is there to come up with a big stop, and Sayamala clears it out of danger. As back into play, and a good chance by Sarah Shapansky. Her kick up and over the goal. Rather, Lucia Wells, and it was batted by Schwartz. Shapansky standing right in front. Schwartz with a great stop. Corner kick upcoming. Shapansky feeds it in front, hits off of a Shaler defender and almost into their own net. But it's back to Shapansky, moving in along the goal line. Shot wide off of the foot of Bree Torsha. And with 26:42 to go, Shaler will take over. No scoring in this second half. All 4 goals coming early on in this contest. 2 from Shapansky, the first and the fourth. Lucia Wells with the 2 middle goals. Back on offense. Wells to Shapansky, who's pushed over. A foul call. Alyssa DeLeonimus, the guilty party, and Shapansky will take a shot from 30 yards away, bouncing one to Schwartz, who catches it off the bounce and will work to try to clear this one. A punt up to the far sideline and pushed out of play, last touched by the Titans. That was Mariah Pelletirio. Throw-in chance for the Tigers. Quickly scooped up by Shaler. Bouncing off a few players, though, and Bree Torsha will try to start the offensive drive. Meanwhile, Shaler, though, digging it out of harm's way. Sayamala trying to keep it in on the offensive end. It's up over midfield. And a chance here with numbers. Are the Titans moving in? Tried to split the defense. It didn't work, though. And North Allegheny pick it up and send it back to midfield. Ball trickles back to Juliana Werner. Had to make a few good saves here in this second half. The offensive intensity back up for Shaler here in half number 2. 24:37 remaining in regulation. Bree Torsha, the give to Palermo. Back to Lucia Wells, up the near sideline. Here comes Keena Shannon with speed. And Maury is there to break up any chance. She gets up slowly, and a throw-in coming from Shannon. Shapansky into the near corner. Just throws one at an odd angle, right in front. There's the give, and a goal! Anna Bundy with her first. After having that chance right at the end of the half that didn't go in, she gets one to go in the second half.
Took some time in this second half, nearly halfway through it, but North Allegheny getting on the board in half number 2, making it a 5-0 game. That may not even have been the best chance that the Tigers had in this second half. However, they do get a goal out of it.
5-0 your score. Sarah Shapansky with the great assist from the corner. And the Tigers continue to pour it on here against the Titans. 23:57 remaining in regulation. Audrey Fisher and company trying to move back into the offensive end. They want to break this scoreless drought. Piper Keene gets it in. All the way to Julie and Warner, who will punt it back up to midfield. Bree Torsha, or rather Lucia Wells at midfield, and Bree Torsha, both of them there. The ball kicked back in to Werner, who plays give and go with Alexis Spano, the junior defender. Shannon to Bree Torsha, now to Lucia Wells, up over midfield. No one was there, though, for NA to take the pass next, and it's quickly changed direction back into the offensive end for Shaler. A nice slide tackle by Talasi Sayamala, making sure that that offensive chance was stifled. Shapansky there. Lucia Wells to the far side. The latest goal scorer, Anna Bundy, trying to catch up with it before it goes out of bounds. She can't. And a throw-in chance as we look at the replay. Shapansky thought she was in trouble in the corner, just chips it right out in front, And Anna Bundy is there to finish. What a move. Proud Bundy family soccer fanatics here in the North Allegheny School District. Of course, Emma, the older sister, played for this squad last year, was a first-team all-section player last year. And she's now at Duquesne University. Offensive chance for the Titans. 21:45 to go. Rolled to Werner. And back to Cecily Smith on the far sideline. Moves it up over midfield. The chip to Shapansky, who's working hard. Torsha down to Shannon, near sideline. And a push sends Lucia Wells crashing to the ground. No foul called, though. Shannon, the feed inside. Shapansky, she's tripped. Still no whistle. Lucia Wells with a chance, and it's blocked out of play. And that will be a corner kick for Sarah Shapansky.
Emily Morey, the senior defender for Shaler, putting in a tough shift, facing a couple of players on the attack for North Allegheny.
That was after Taylor Pierce sent it skied out of play. Shot on goal, headed out of danger. No problem there for Shaler. But the offensive zone continues for North Allegheny. Torsha to Wells. Down low, trying to feed Shapansky. Ball just chipped towards the net. And Jocelyn Schwartz is there to handle. 20 minutes and 20 seconds remaining. So we're just about halfway through the second half. Ball punted into the air. Bouncing on the turf. Sophia Palermo there to handle to begin with. Meanwhile, here comes Keena Shannon. She's pushed to the ground, but she moves it up to midfield. Quickly, it's Stager. Just can't tiptoe down the line. It goes out of play. Waiting for the ball to get back into play. Throw-in chance here for Shaler. And quickly sent back out of bounds. Throw-in chance now for Keena Shannon. Off the feet of Bree Torsha. Working around a defender. The feed to Palermo up at midfield. Spano also getting in on the action. Cecily Smith on the far side. Working one-on-one. Anna Bundy. The feed to Shapansky. Splitting the D and offsides once more. Almost another chance for Lucia Wells. Possession back to the hands of the Titans, Emily Morey.
And in a few minutes here, we may see a mass substitution of sorts for North Allegheny. We see some of the bench players standing up, getting some instruction on what they may get to do if and when they enter this contest.
Yeah, Chuck Kelly talking to what potentially could be the second line as the players move towards center. Just waiting for another stoppage of play to enter this contest. Always good to get varsity experience as well. We talked about changing lines on the JV game. But varsity's a different beast, and it's always good to slip in there when you can. Ball just hit wide. Once again, Alexis Tylenda, who's had probably the best chances out there for Shaler, throws her shot just wide. And as you mentioned, Donnie, full line change as the North Allegheny faithful give a round of applause to that starting lineup who has just applied immense pressure the entire time. 5-0 score, 17.5 minutes remaining here in regulation. Bellafalo and company out there. Seeing some new names with some names that have been in there as well. Keena Shannon. Brianna Rice back into the game. He had some time in the first half as Warner comes up with another save. Tosses out to Chloe Reed. Reed up the far sideline. Intended pass for Samantha Braden, who was a factor in that JV game. She's out there now in varsity. And it's scooted along. The tip in. The feed to a streaking Brianna Rice. Tripped up a little bit. Her shot just wide.
A nice feed in, but Rice going a little bit wide of the cage, or else it could have been number 6 for North Allegheny.
Schwartz will toss it to her teammate Taylor Pierce, who's going to clear it here for Shaler. Down to 16 minutes remaining, a 5-0 Tiger lead. The tip up into the air off of Katie Warner. Meanwhile, down along the near sideline is Brianna Rice. Offensive chance taken away as Shaler moves it up over the midfield line. Bellafalo there, Warner also there. Collision near midfield. Who's going to come up with possession? It's North Allegheny. Rice, the tip, and it goes out of play. Possession back to Shaler. And Maria Buckshaw will throw in. Substitution for the Titans as we approach the 15-minute mark. Only one goal in the second half. That was off the foot of Anna Bundy. Our first goal of the season. Assist from Sarah Shapansky. It was at 24:04. It's just about 10 minutes ago. In game time, of course. Moving into the offensive end come the Titans. Selena Slavisic not having any chance as once again the Tiger defense there and causing problems. And chip back up to midfield. Foot race one-on-one. Coming in is Abby Steger. Throw-in chance for Braden. Scans her options, decides to go right in front of her. Riley Circa. Collision about 30 yards out. Warner. And the feed taken away. Haley Historic moves it into the offensive end as Alexis Tylenda gets tied up. Still holds on to possession though. Loose ball, who's going to come up with it? It's the Tigers. 13:28 remaining here in regulation. Natalie Figura trying to feed upfield to a streaking Abby Steger. She has to go back to retrieve it though as it's kicked out of bounds.
And if you're Shaler and you want to see some signs of improvement, I know last year the first meeting between the squads, it was only a 4-0 win for North Allegheny, but in the second matchup between the Tigers and the Titans, blowout fashion, 11-0, North Allegheny won that game. So if you can improve on those numbers this year, because looking out here, the Titans don't look like a team that will only win one game. This looks like a squad that can very much compete in several games and, claw out a few more wins in 2020.
Those games last year on September 6th and October 11th, or rather October 1st. As all conference foes meet up at least twice, 2 times in the regular season, and then of course if they are able to get to the postseason, they could meet up once more. We're down to 12-16 in the second half. A 5-0 advantage for the Tigers here at home. It's their home opener, their opener of the season after a few postponements with the WPIAL soccer calendar. And they're looking pretty sharp in their first matchup. Breonna Rice and company trying to keep the offensive pressure, including Olivia Mark. Back to Rice. Move toward the midfield. Natalie Figura. And Shaler tries to settle it down. Rolling all the way into their offensive zone. And it's quickly scooted back on the far sideline by Bella Follow. Figura up over midfield. Her shot blocked. Back to Warner. Meanwhile, on the near sideline, Olivia Mark. Give and go. Stager. Back to Rice. Feeding Braden, or at least trying to. Big collision. 25 yards out. Figura and company trying to make things happen. Also Samantha Braden. Ball rolls over the end line. Looks like they're going to award this one to North Allegheny. It's going to be a corner kick. Tigers in position. Corner kick does not make it to the traffic in front. Instead, it's batted away by Aubrey Skurlong. With 10 minutes and 5 seconds remaining. Shot on net, Schwartz there to make sure nothing was going in. And she'll look to clear. Not in any hurry. Pooches it up to, trying to get it up to midfield, but Breonna Rice and company there to make sure that wasn't going to happen. Rice moving inside. Now handled by Riley Serqua. Bella Follow as well. As it rolls into the Shaler offensive end, going back to get it, Keena Shannon, the junior midfielder. Heard her name a lot. She's worked the near sideline throughout this entire contest. And Juliana Werner set it down and clear this one out with 9:10 remaining. Looked like she was going to give it the big boot. Instead, just a little shove off to Bella Follow, and it's back to Werner. And out of play on the far sideline. Shannon the throw in, hitting Chloe Reed. Out of bounds by the Tigers. Throw in here for Shaler, but they really can't get a handle on it, at least not initially. They do this time. Pass in front, shot in front, handled easily by Warner. Alexis Tylenda once again. Now it's up to the NA defense to get this one moved out. Battle for it at midfield. It's picked up by Stager. One-on-one along the near sideline. Stager trying to move it towards center. Ball floated back to midfield. Follow leaves it there, trying to feed her teammate Olivia Mark, who picks it up. A little bit of a danger spot, but it's okay. Move back into the offensive zone. Now Shaler will move it up to center. A dump in. And it's picked up by the Tigers. Good deal of passing by Riley Serqua. Warner, one-on-one. Trying to come up with possession from Mariah Pelletorio. And booted over the end line. Down to 7:15 remaining in half number 2, a 5-0 Tiger lead. And a corner kick upcoming for North Allegheny. This time, Olivia Mark will handle the duties on that far flag. Her teammates set up. Some traffic about 20 yards away from the goal. They move in off the kick. Schwartz is there out of her net to try to make the stop. Loose ball in front. Schwartz is caught out of position, but the Shaler defense is there to clear it out of harm's way. Meanwhile, turning shot misses wide off the foot of Abby Stager. Clock trickling down towards 6 minutes as Shaler tries to clear, and a quick whistle will give possession back to the Titans as both teams shift over midfield. North Allegheny having no problem in this one. As we mentioned, they lost a lot of experience, but they returned some young players who were very, very vital in that WPIAL championship run last year. Of course, they make it to the PIAA quarterfinals. As we mentioned, we were out there. Oh, here we go. Stager with a chance, trying to get around Schwartz, the goalie, who puts up a bit of a fight 30 yards away from the net. And it rolls out of bounds. Possession back to North Allegheny. As we mentioned, the team ending their PIAA chances in the quarterfinal last year from Cumberland Valley High School, Eagle Valley Middle School, a chance against Boyertown, and it was a very good and close game, a cold day. Jonathan Spina and I were out there for that one. I was along with athletic director Bob Bizzuto. Cold Saturday in November, and you know this team would like to at least make it back to that spot if they could. That's when it really gets exciting, some of that playoff soccer in the WPIAL and PIAA.
When you're playing in cold weather, you know it's normally a good thing. Really, in any sport.
In the fall, at least, yeah, for sure. North Allegheny moving back into the offensive end. 4.5 minutes to go. It's Olivia Mark. As her pass hit out of bounds, and she'll throw in. Lobbed right to the back line. Defending is Aubrey Skurlong. And out of bounds once more. This time off of North Allegheny's players. So Shaler gets a chance to throw in. Off the head of Chloe Reed. And this one rolls up toward midfield. Handled by Olivia Mark. Has a defender right behind her. She turns, gets it up into the Golden Tiger paw. It's Natalie Figura. Pass down the far sideline. Olivia Murphy there. Rolls out of bounds. Last touch by the Titans. Murphy will throw in. Back and forth passing. Who's going to come up with it, though? Stager had a little bit of trouble handling it on the far sideline. Then it's cleared to center. Hit off of Chloe Reed after Shaler tried to clear it. Didn't work. Tigers' pressure continues offensively. Olivia Mark, near sideline. 1-on-2. Feeding Reed. Pass intended for Warner, out of her reach, and into the offensive zone comes Ashley Benizia. Figura to Warner. 2:20 remaining here in regulation. A 5-0 Tiger score. Lead pass. Well out ahead of two offensive Tigers. And it's cleared by Schwartz.
Much more competitive second half. I know that North Allegheny sort of emptied the bench a little bit about 10 or so minutes ago in game time. However, just a 1-0 deficit in this final 40 minutes.
Yeah, they definitely turned it on offensively. That's Shaler. In the second half, they came out with a little more pizzazz than they did in the first half. But unfortunately, after a sluggish first half, the damage was done. Natalie Figura handles to Rachel Johns. Big collision between two players, including Figura. Reset upcoming, and it's awarded to Shaler. Handling is Anna Sheets. Down to 1:05 remaining here in regulation. Sheets, the chip in. Kept out, and a great job by Juliana Werner. Just punching it with her arm. See the replay here. Sheets throws a lob towards the net, and if Warner wasn't there to palm that one away, volleyball style, could have scored. But broke that shutout. We're down to 35 seconds in regulation. Stager, the feed to Braden in front. Stager again. The chip back towards the net. And the ball goes rolling towards the corner and out of play. 15 seconds remaining. The throw in from Shaler should be the last one of the game. 3 seconds to go, and there's the
match.
5-0 your final score.
For the Tigers is
North Allegheny with their first win of the season and their first game of the year over the Shaler Titans.
On behalf of the North Allegheny Athletic Department, we'd like to thank all the fans in attendance.
Fantastic showing
of both the Tigers
the NA
and
offense.
Titans soccer programs.
They've had a good job.
Come on back on Saturday for our next game.
Right Automotive Player
We'd like
of the
to
game.
Also say thank you to Tiger Vision Productions, your
I think I'm going to have to
exclusive
give
partner
this
for
one
telecast
to
right
Sarah
here at Wright Field at Newman
Shapansky.
Stadium.
Scored the first goal. It was
I'm
a
Nick
one-on-one
Jovanovic. Have a
goal at
great night. Get home safe.
32:55.
And as always,
Then also
go
scored
Tigers!
17 minutes left to make it 4-0, really solidifying that lead. And she also had an assist on the fifth goal, the only goal of the second half from Anna Bundy. So our Right Automotive Player of the game will be awarded to Sarah Shapansky.
Yeah, the first goal and mainly the goal that put things away, Jared, at the end of the first half to make it 4-0.
As you're watching the highlights of the action throughout tonight's contest, so let's roll through the scores once more. 32 minutes, 55 seconds in the first half. Shapansky, one-on-one goal, makes it 1-0. Less than 30 seconds later, it's Lucia Wells with her first of the game, 2-0 the score. Then a couple of minutes later, Wells would get back on the board with her second marker. The assist from Anna Bundy made it 3-0. At 17-19, Sarah Shapansky from Ellie Wrigley makes it 4-0. Anna Bundy had a good shot with 5 seconds remaining in the half to potentially add that fifth goal, but she would get her chance at 24:04 left in the second half. A 5-0 marker from Bundy. The assist from Sarah Shapansky, who, of course, takes home our Right Automotive Player of the game. For the Shaler Titans, they drop to 0-2 overall and 0-2 in conference play. They'll be back in action on Monday against Seneca Valley. That's a home game for Shaler. Meanwhile, North Allegheny, their first win of the season, puts their conference record to 1-0, overall record to 1-0, and they will be back in action over the weekend. A Saturday 2 o'clock start against Archbishop Alter here at North Allegheny High School. So a little bit of non-conference action coming this weekend for the girls soccer squad. Donnie, any final words here before we wrap things up in this first soccer match of the year for North Allegheny?
Well, North Allegheny, for this squad, it was pretty much business as usual. I mean, they didn't light up the scoreboard necessarily, but still 5 goals, 4 of them coming in the first half. Jared, a very solid effort for the Tigers, and going forward, I think this team only gets stronger. And on the other side for Shaler, this was a squad that only won 1 game last year, but I think you can take a lot of positives out of this. A pretty evenly played second half, and a lot of offensive chances that maybe against a more inferior opponent, one that isn't really a power like North Allegheny, you get a couple of goals across, and I think the Titans will find that as the season goes on.
Once again, if you are in the North Allegheny district and did not hear the news, no high school football tomorrow. That game was supposed to be here via live stream. Baldwin Athletics dealing with COVID complications, so that game will be postponed. So no football for the Tigers tomorrow. Art Walker and the squad getting a week off. For Donnie Chedrick, I'm Jared Barton saying good evening, and we will join you coming up again this season here on the North Allegheny Sports Network. Good night, everybody.